Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, every year, Anime Corner has their annual Anime of the Year awards, and today I'm going to be going through some of their nominees and voting on some of these shows, giving my thoughts on some of the series that came out in 2024. Now, over the holiday weekend, not holiday weekend, over the holiday season, I was going to do a top 10 video or a tier list, and unfortunately, I started the script for the top 10 video, and then I scrapped that, and then I started the tier list thing. But unfortunately, the new year came, and I'm now focusing on a script for another video and some other stuff. So I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and just do this instead. This will be the substitute video just so I can get my thoughts out there on all these shows that came out, because unfortunately I haven't been able to post a lot. I haven't really been able to talk about a bunch of shows that I watched. Like, I watched, like, I think over like 70 shows or something like that last year, but there was just a lot that I wanted to talk about, so I want to go ahead and give the opportunity to do that. So without further ado, we're gonna go through all of these. So I'm doing this off the cuff, so just bear with me here. I might do a bit of editing. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this goes, though. But so first category, and I should also point this out. So this is my first time voting for this for their anime of the year thing. I learned about this site last year after I was so disappointed by the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Uh, if y'all remember, there was a lot. I felt like it was a lot of safe picks last year. A lot of shonen shows got nominated. A lot of stuff that didn't get nominated that was that I felt like earned basically earned their spot. A lot of stuff that I didn't think should have been up there. But this year, for those of y'all that don't know, Crunchyroll has decided to essentially move back their award show, because now they're gonna include everything. They're gonna include the whole year instead of just like the past year, the past fall, and then up until the summer. But yeah, talking a lot now about that, but I just wanted to go ahead and get that out the way. So going into the first category, best couple of the year. Now my problem, I kind of skimmed through some of this earlier. My problem with this, and I'll go through each of the picks, but my problem with the nominees here. So two things. First off, some of these aren't romantic. Like, they're not romantic pairings. Like this one down here, Ubel and Lon. Unless I'm missing something, because maybe I just didn't see it. I don't think there was like any sort of romantic feelings toward those two characters. I guess you could say Kazuma and Darkness. I didn't get to see season 3 of Konosuba, so maybe there was something there. But the rest of these are fine. What I think what's bothering me here with this selection, like Rama and Akane and Aqua, like all of these, I think all of the ones I just named, Amelia and Subaru, all those fine picks. I'm wondering, like, if it was me, I probably would take out Ubel and Lon and who else? Well, I don't know about Mao Mao and this other character. I've only seen like a few episodes of that show, of what's the name of it? Apothecary Diaries. So I only seen a few episodes of that. But I feel like instead, I don't know. I was very surprised not to see these two, man. I'm surprised not to see what's her face? Minami and Tsubasa from Hokkaido Girls. And also this Zagon and Nephi. I'm surprised they didn't have those two. So those were two pairings that I thought that probably should have been up here instead of some of these other ones. But if I had to choose, I think the obvious one for me, and actually let me go ahead, like I said, I was gonna go through all these. Well, I already said Aqua and Akane and Rama. We have Aoya and Kuze. Um, you have Anna and Kotaro. Anna and Nukumizu. Always have a hard time with his name. Chinasu and Taiki. We have Darkness and Kazuma, Fern and Stark, Frieren and Himmel, Kana and Aqua, Kurumi and Shido, Lucy and Natsu. And I'm not sure what show this is from. Mio and Shinji. We have Momo and Okarun, Rin and Iji, Roxy and Rudius, and then Rudius and Selfie, and then like I said, Ubel and Lon. So out of all these, first of all, my first pick, like the one that I want to win this and I think deserves it, definitely Anna and Kotaro. My thing with Dangerous, God, forgive me, I'm screwing up my words right now, having a hard time talking. My thing with Dangerous in My Heart, that show, if you watch both season 1, season 2, you just felt like you've seen these characters grow up before your eyes. Like, they don't just grow as characters, character development wise. They grow physically, they grow emotionally. And this is really I feel like this is like the first romance show. And I'm probably going to repeat myself over again, so apologize. But I apologize in advance. But it's like, I really got invested in their relationship the most out of just any romance show I've watched so far in my life. Like, I just think overall, both and just as individual characters, they're just very interesting. And I don't think there's any couple from last year that I think topped them for me personally. I've only seen a few episodes of Apothecary Diaries, so I can't really say anything about Mao Mao and this other dude. Lucy and Natsu, I feel like this is the one pick you can kind of take out. It's kind of funny they put that picture in there. They could have chose something more wholesome, but and I'm not going to I wouldn't give anything to Oshino Ko just because I didn't see season 2, and just from what I know of season 1, it seemed like it's more of a one-sided thing where Kana and this other character, what's her name? Akane, like it's more dumb liking, it's more dim liking, God, can't speak right now. It's more the women liking Aqua more than Aqua liking dumb, unless it changed in season 2, because like I said, I haven't seen it. Akane and Rama, I like their relationship. But I don't think, like, romantically, I wouldn't give it to them personally. I mean, I think there's a lot of comedic stuff between those two. Definitely not for me as far as Anna and Nikumizu. I've only seen a few episodes of this. I've basically seen the first half. If you've seen my first impressions on the show, I thought it was decent, and we'll get more into it later. But as far as these two characters, I didn't really feel like they had that strong of a chemistry. Emilia and Subaru, I always liked their interactions together. I more prefer Rim and Emilia, but I assume Rim doesn't wake up during this season. I haven't seen season 3 yet, but I'll put them up there. I'll give them a nod. Fern and Stark, love those two characters. She gives Stark such a hard time. Again, it's another pairing where it's like a lot of comedic moments between them, and there was like maybe one or two sweet moments between them. Also, Freeman and Himmel, obviously that's definitely gotta be a pick there. But yeah, I'm glad I scrolled down because I almost forgot. Definitely got to give, and it's kind of sad that I almost forgot because I'm actually working on a Dan review. Hopefully that'll get out. But these two, like, I think Dan is also a pretty good. It has a pretty good love story with these two characters. Really kind of exploring first love and true love with those two characters. They have some good scenes together too. But yeah, I think those will be my picks. Um, and as far as like Rudius and Rudius and Sophie, like I said, some of these shows I have not caught up with. Like this is one of those shows, but their relationship, people. I don't know if people have come around on Rudius, but obviously with him being old, being like mentally, he's older than some of these characters. So it's kind of a weird thing with people. I don't know if the sentiment has changed online, but those are my picks though. So we have best adaptation of the year. We have Bleach, Dan to Dan, Days with My Stepsister, which I'm surprised to see this up here. Frieren, Konosuba Season 3, Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Oshi no Ko, and Dangers in My Heart Season 2. Now, man, so if I had to give a definitive winner, man, I love Dangers in My Heart. That it was a perfect second season, a perfect first season, obviously, but the second season, it was very satisfying. Like I said, I'll talk more on that. I'll talk more on that show later, but out of all of these, I think if I had to choose as my like number one, it deserves it. It's gotta be Dan to Dan, and I think the reason why, cause I've read I've read the first volume of Dan to Dan, and I've read a little bit because I'm going back for review. So I'm going into the manga and kind of reading some of the parts that we saw throughout the season, and I'm like, yeah, they did their own. Science Saru did their own thing with this, man. They gave it so much flavor, so much style with it, and they added so much. Like, I don't want to say they added more, like more character to it or more personality to it, but they definitely supplemented what was already there. So for my next pick, I'd probably give it to Frieren. Now, this one, I think that Madhouse did a great job with the animation and the cinematography on it. It's also just a really deep fantasy show. I heard season 2 of Oshi no Ko was good, but like I said earlier, I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not gonna. I just can't vote for it. Same thing with Mushoku Tensei, and then I'll give one to The Dangers in My Heart season 2. I think that also deserves it as well. Okay, so next one, best animation of the year. So we have Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Demon Slayer, Dan to Dan, Frieren, Kaiju number 8, Oshi no Ko, Solo Leveling, and Wistoria. So I'm actually surprised by this. I'm actually surprised by this list. Because I would actually, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because like I said earlier, I wasn't the highest. I wasn't really the highest on the show, on Making, but I think Making should actually take Kaiju number 8 slot. Or even something like Elusive Samurai. Like, I loved Kaiju number 8, which I'll probably talk about later if they nominate it for one of these other categories. But I love Kaiju number 8. Like, don't get me wrong, and I thought the action scenes were really good. But to give this a best animation nod over Elusive Samurai and Making, I don't disagree. I disagree with that. I don't think that was a good call. From what I've seen, so here are the shows that I have not seen on here. I've seen so I haven't seen the latest, the latest part of Bleach. I saw it when it was first coming out, when Thousand Blood War, when it returned. I saw like the first 3 or 4 episodes. From what I've just seen of the show, the animation looked really good. Frieren, I just literally talked about this, how the animation, how the cinematography and everything was. The thing with Frieren, so if we're talking about the second part of Frieren that aired last year, and we're not talking about that first part, the second part actually has a lot more action to it. I remember the animation looking really good toward the end. That fight with like Frieren fighting Frieren, and what's her name? Ubel, the Ubel fight. Demon Slayer is a show that some people might say it's pretty much carried by its animation. So with Ufotable, a lot of people hold them in high regard. From what I've seen of Demon Slayer, I said this in the past. I've not been impressed. I've maybe it's maybe for me it's part of just bias toward the art style a bit because I'm not a fan of the art style. Oshinoko, what I've seen of that show, it just I think the art direction, like it's a very beautiful looking show. What I've seen is Solo Leveling. This again, it's one of those shows I have not seen. I've seen clips of it. I've seen the intro and stuff. The animation looked good from what I've seen, but it didn't look incredible. Now there were 3 shows last year that I thought, okay, this is almost like movie level quality, and May King was one of those shows. But then also Wistoria, like those first couple episodes, because I've only seen a few episodes of the show, but I was like, goodness, this looks like straight up almost very close to movie level animation. If I had to choose out of all these, man, like this is tough because even Dan, the animation is pretty good. But I think with Dan, it's more style. It's more stylized. It's more stylized with it. Frieren, I describe his animation as being elegant, as being like very elegant, not flashy. I think I have to give it to Astoria based on the episodes I've seen. It's again, quality wise, it's on that movie level. The action scenes, for what I saw, for what I can remember, were really good. And it's not really stylized per se. But yeah, I think I'd give it to Wistoria. This is going to be a tough category. I'm curious to see who actually wins this one, though. Okay, so for best, so the next one we got is Fantasy Anime of the Year. And okay, wow, I'm surprised. Okay, these picks already. So we got Day A Live 5, Dragon Ball Daima, Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, Frieren, Mashoko, Solo Leveling, Wistoria, and ReZero. I'm surprised. Okay, so here are the picks that I'm surprised by. Dragon Ball Daima. I'm kind of surprised by that, even though there may be some bump there because, Akira Toriyama's death and then Dragon Ball being this popular juggernaut of a show. But to put this in a fantasy category, I mean, when I think fantasy, man, it's kind of weird though. I mean, it's not as it's not as a offensive of a pick as like with what Crunchyroll will be doing with Demon Slayer. They'll put them in the fantasy category, and I'm like, what? That doesn't. Like I kind of get why you put it there, but then it's kind of like, well, it's still based on a certain period in Japan. It's still based in our world. Whereas Dragon Ball, it's its own world. So yeah, it's fantasy. It's not traditional fantasy. But Day A Live though, I'm not too familiar with that show at all, but I could have sworn it takes place in our world. Now, it might be an urban fantasy sort of thing, but when I think about this fantasy category, I really think about shows more in line with like a Frieren or a ReZero or Mashoko, stuff like that. So it's really strange. If y'all will just bear with me for a second, because I want to see something. And I'm going to do this, and apologies, but I got to do this right now. Because I want to see what fantasy shows, because I just want to make sure something. Because I want to see what fantasy shows came out last year, because are these really the only picks that they could have chosen, right? So, it's weird. Okay, so, Delicious in Dungeon, that's a fantasy show. Okay, hold the heck up. So, where was I? Hold on. Where am I at? Okay. Oh, so y'all couldn't see my screen there because I was on a different tab. So apologies. Let me pull this up here. Oops. Pull this up here. Just bear with me for a moment, because I want to see something. Where is fantasy? Fantasy. Oh, here it is. Okay, so here are all the shows that came out last year that were fantasy driven. And out of all these, man, out of all of these shows, I'm going to scroll down a little bit so y'all can see. Out of all these fantasy shows that came out, and I think this is at the end of the list almost. Okay, it's taking a bit longer to load, but y'all get the gist. Like, out of all of these shows, these are our picks. These are the picks. So, out of all these, I think I'd remove Day A Live, even though, again, I'm not saying it's a bad or good show or anything like that. I'm not trashing on the show. I'm just saying category-wise. So, let me check something right quick, because maybe you could search up. I don't know, because... And so, I did the Reddit. I did the Reddit poll. Their whole anime of the year thing, and you could search up shows that weren't listed. So let me just check. Let me just make sure, because it's like, it's weird to see that Delicious in Dungeon is not, or maybe it's under Dungeon Meshi. So yeah, okay, so it's not that case, because even in the fall poll on this website, you could like search up the show, and even if it's not listed, you could basically select it. So it's weird. Dungeon Meshi is not up here. It is really weird. I mean, again, people have, look, I mean, this is obvious, but people have their own taste. Everybody has their own deal, their own preference. I can't even talk, but everybody has their own taste and everything. But it's weird to see Dungeon Meshi is not here. It's weird to see I got reincarnated as a slime. I heard the wrong way to use healing, magic. 7-time loop. Like, dog, there was some good fantasy shows. Like, look, y'all know I love Fairy Tail, or if y'all just not familiar with this channel, yeah, I'm a Fairy Tail fan. Why is this here? 100-Year Quest has to be way better than the first Fairy Tail story. It must be much better than what the original Fairy Tail is, because as much as I love it, Fairy Tail has a lot of flaws. So I'm actually, like I said, and I don't mean to belabor the point, but it's like, I am very surprised to see some of these picks. I would take out Fairy Tail. I take out Dragon Ball. I would take out Day Live. But yeah, out of all of these picks, I gotta give it to Friedrin. Again, I haven't seen Solo Leveling, but based off of what I've seen so far, I plan on watching it at some point, hopefully soon. But it kind of comes off to me as, like, I'm kind of expecting it to be a better version of I Got a Cheat Skill. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that. I feel like it's going to be a better version of that. And it seems like it's just going to be a show, like an isekai show with just the OP protagonist. Just kind of a standard isekai show, but, better animation. Like, really good animation. But yeah, I think out of all of these, I have to give it to Friedrin. And I'll give a nod to Wistoria. But I think Friedrin should take it, just because I feel like it is one of those straight up fantasy shows that can be interesting in the way of its lore, its world building, because there's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't see. Like the way that the author did the demons and stuff is done differently than what I've ever seen done in a show before. And then the way that it explores I wouldn't say life and death, but it's more like it's more like, I guess, theme wise, I guess this is like the best way, and forgive me, this is off the top of my head, and I'm going off of like memories from dang near 12, 14 months ago, but it's a show that explores the importance of memories, the importance of, experiences you have with other people, how that can pretty much, teach you things and stuff like that. It was a deep show, but it had good animation. Not really, like, the first half wasn't too action oriented, I would say. There was a lot more action in that second half. it had some great comedy as well. It was just a really well done, really well done fantasy show. Wistoria, from what I've seen of it, it looks like you would think just looking at the trailer of it that it's just going to be another Black Clover, but it really, just based off of what I've seen, looks like it's going to be more than just a Black Clover clone. But yeah, I'll probably give it to Friedman. I think Friedman should take it. So next one is Mystery Suspense. Haven't seen Beastars. I think this might, okay, whoa, okay, just scrolling down here. So Beastars, we have Black Butler, Classroom of the Elite Season 3, Mysterious Disappearances, Oshinoko, ReZero, Shoshimin, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary, and then we have the Apothecary Diaries, which I've heard is really good. Out of all these, I mean, I haven't seen most of these. I didn't get to watch Classroom of the Elite Season 3 because I was waiting for the English dub. But I'm surprised. So, out of all of this, I'm surprised to see Mysterious Disappearances here. I am really surprised to see that here. Out of all these, I mean, maybe I'm going to be disingenuous here and give it to Classroom of the Elite. And I'll give a nod to ReZero. Because I don't think, I enjoyed Mysterious Disappearances, but it was one of those shows that had poor pacing. I think there were some some episodes that felt like filler. And and don't get me wrong, because there were some eerie moments in there. There were some tense moments in there, but I do think that the pacing kind of, both in terms of just the episodes and just overall the season overall, I think the pacing, and then the fact that they kind of focused, I feel like they focused a bit more, a bit too much on the comedy and fan service aspects of the show, a bit too much. But yeah, I don't think this show was that great, but I did enjoy it. But out of all these, I'd probably give it toward Friedman. I'm not Friedman. ReZero and Classroom of the Elite. I'll just give those two a nod there. Sci-Fi anime of the year. Kaiju number 8. Ninja Kamoi. We have Sword Art Online, The Irregular at Magic High School, Undead Unluck, A-Tree, and that's it. So, man, I haven't seen any of these but Kaiju number 8, so I'd probably give it to this. I've seen the first episode of Demon Lord 2099, but honestly, I haven't seen enough to judge it. I've seen just a few episodes of Nier, so I can't really say. So I'd probably give that to Kaiju number 8. Okay, so next one. Okay, I'm glad to see this show. So 2.5D Seduction. We have Gushing Over Magical Girls. Seven Prince, Konosuba. Oh yes. Okay, so they definitely So they definitely did their thing with this category. No Longer Allowed in Another World, Rama One Half, and Toomey Losing Heroines. So, reason why I'm getting excited here, because 2.5's Dimensional Seduction. So, some of these picks here, like I mentioned earlier that I did the Reddit, their poll, and I was very confused by a lot of the nominees. Like, I really question the taste of those judges. Again, like I said earlier, we all have our own taste, but I think just objectively speaking, there's some stuff that you can't really put in there. But this is a tough one, because a lot of these shows had a lot of funny moments. Like No Longer Allowed in Another World, it had some dark humor in it that was really good. Rama One Half, that had it's humor. So the thing with Rama One Half, I haven't seen the original, but just judging off of just me being a newcomer, seeing a show that is based on something from like what 20 years ago, whatever. Like the humor is timeless. It has a lot of physical humor in it, some funny sight gags as well. I haven't seen Konosuba, but that shows Konosuba is always funny. It's always funny. Seven Prince, man, now that show was hilarious as well. Dag, but Delicious in Dungeon had so many great episodes where the characters will be in these different scenarios. Like there was an episode where they all had like what was it? Like they all had like switch bodies, and then there was another episode. God, there was a whole lot of different scenarios that they went through that was pretty funny. And Marcel, there was so many funny moments with her. And then 2.5D Seduction, uh, it has its cringe moments with Okamura, but that had some pretty good moments too, man. Dag. Okay, so this is a hard category. I think out of all of them, like based off of the laughs that I got, I think, man, this is a hard one. Oh yeah, and to me losing heroines, that's one. If I had to take one out of here, I'd probably take out Toomey losing heroines. I haven't seen gushing over magical girls. I've only seen like I think 2 episodes, and what I saw of that, I was like, yeah, there's not enough substance there. So let me look at the Annie list right quick because I wanted to check and see something. So if we look at the comedy section, if I had to choose, and hopefully this won't take too long to load, let me get rid of these those tabs there. Dang. Okay, hold up. Did I? What the heck? Okay, so it's not coming up for some reason. I don't know. Maybe the site's not working. But there were other shows. There were other comedic shows that I felt like could take the place of too many losing heroines. I thought, and I said this in my first impressions. I just thought that, man, like the writing's not bad, but it's all right, and like the comedy, especially that's one aspect of the show that I didn't think was too strong. Like it's not inventive, it's not creative. It doesn't really build on top of it. It doesn't really build on top of itself really well. Like there's not really any like really good running gags. Like the only thing I can remember from that show that really stood out was the zombie Garu. Like that was the funniest part. The funniest scenes of the show was basically with her and Nukumizu. Other than that, I'm like, yeah, the comedy was pretty weak there. So if I had to like choose a few picks, so I think ultimately Dungeon Meshi, I'd probably give it to that. I also give a nod to No Longer Allowed in Another World, and I'll give one more nod to Seven Prince. I think this show is highly underrated. It had a lot of funny moments. Some stuff in there that I think some people that it might rub people the wrong way. The stuff with the main character and his bodyguard / maid person, Silpha. I think that's her name. I'm blanking on it. I'm pretty sure that was her name, Silpha. But so going to the next one. So, and let me go and scroll up. Okay, so going to the next category, we have Best Romance. We have Sign of God, I can't speak right now. Sign of Affection. We have Archdemon's Dilemma. I'm glad to see that here. We have Blue Box. Okay, wow, I'm surprised to see the show here. Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again. Pseudo Harem. Rama One Half. Dangers in My Heart. And of course, Too Many Losing Heroines. So right off the bat, if I had to take one show out, I'm taking out Too Many Losing Heroines. Gotta take that out. And honestly, I would put 2.5D Seduction in its place. Because here's the thing, man. This show, from what I've seen so far, I'm like the romance aspect of it. Or, well, with this show, it's more about it's about the girls getting rejected. For those of y'all who haven't seen it. So it's not a traditional romance show. And I feel like people have I feel like people have fallen in love with the concept of the show and have fallen in love with the person because the characters, if you really take away, because it does deal with teenage depression, but I feel like people are so mesmerized by that by those aspects of the show that they're just able to just overlook the fact that I feel like these characters are they're kind of hollow, and I kind of feel like the show's a bit shallow. Like it's getting by on its visuals, it's getting by on the personalities of the characters rather than there being any, rather than there being any deep writing there, any really strong emotional points. Because I feel like even the emotional scenes that I've seen so far, I feel like a lot of them had just, it rang hollow. Like the stuff with and forgive me, I'm blanking on her name, Anna, the stuff with Anna and Sosuke. There was that one emotional scene early on, and I'm like, dog, I'm like, it's not a bad scene. It's just like I'm not feeling the emotion here because you haven't really fleshed out these characters. Like my main criticism with this show so far, and I have others, and I have a lot of other criticisms with it, but it's like you haven't built up these relationships between these characters, and I'm talking about platonically. You have not built up the relationship between Sosuke and Anna and Lemon and her love and her her crush. You haven't really built up those relationships. You haven't really built up these characters, those two in particular. So it's like I don't really feel anything for these characters. I'm watching the show and I'm feeling apathetic, and I shouldn't feel that way. The only character, and I feel like the best character in that show is Komori, and I feel like honestly she could have the show probably would have been better if you pretty much make her the star, make her the main girl. And Nukumizu, I feel like to be fair to him, like some people see him as a self-insert character, as just a bland self-insert character. I kind of push back on that just a little bit, but he's definitely no Kiyotaro. Like he's definitely not on the same level. He's nowhere near on the same level as the protagonist in The Dangers in My Heart. But it's like even this character, I've seen some people say you could like take him out of the show and it wouldn't change too much. And he's not really interested. He's definitely like the most bland character out of all of them. But I feel like Komori is the most relatable character out of the three, and it's like, dude, I just kind of feel like the other two girls probably would have been better served as supporting characters. And it's like the thing that like, cause I get it for those of y'all who are into it like that, who have been able to get into it. It's just like y'all like the concept, and it's cool in concept, but it's like you gotta have the characters fleshed out more than this in order to make me care, because the whole thing's about them trying to get through rejection, and it shows how people deal with depression, and I can appreciate that, but you gotta have more than just great visuals, man, because that's what the show, like I said before, I feel like this show got by on its visuals, it got by on the personalities of the characters. And I will give this, just to kind of close out what I'm saying here with this show, is that it had a pretty good, like a pretty unique setting, right? So I'll give it that also. But I think out of all of these, I'll give it to The Dangers in My Heart. I got to, like, this is literally one of the best, if not the best, romance shows of all time. It is a show that, and apologies, but it's like, apologies because I know I'm gonna repeat myself here, but it's like by the end of it, it just felt like you really got to see those characters grow. And it's one of those shows where it didn't take a long, like it's not paced poorly, right? You're not taking like over 100 episodes to see these characters get together, and you feel like you feel like those, like the moment that they get together, by the end of it, you feel like they earned it. You feel like it was earned. And then also just that season finale, man, when the music from the first opening starts playing, again, it made me feel so nostalgic, and it's crazy because the show first began back in 2023, and yet I felt nostalgic. And again, it just goes back to the fact that these characters actually developed. And one thing I can say, I can give this show over Too Many Losing Heroines. It actually freaking developed these characters, and then even the supporting characters I thought were good. Some of the new ones that they introduced and stuff. So I'd give it to Dangerous in My Heart. Definitely, I think it deserves it. I hope the God that made King doesn't win, but I think people are too enamored with the visuals, too enamored with the personalities of the characters. But hopefully Dangerous in My Heart wins it. I think it deserves it. Pseudo Harem, I heard that was good. I've been waiting to watch that one. Rama One Half, like I mentioned earlier, it being a timeless classic show that it still holds up to this day. And funny thing about Rama One Half, at first I was kind of hesitant to watch it because I'm not really a fan. I've said this before. I'm not really a fan of gender swap anime. I feel like if you're gonna if you want to make a show about a female, you make a show about a female. You don't just do main character was a man and then now we gonna swap them. It's like I'm very picky when it comes to that, and I was also a bit hesitant because the last gender bender show that I watched was Ayakashi Triangle, and that fan service, the fan service and the censorship and all that stuff, I was very turned off by it. But this one it's a great comedy, and it has some good emotional moments. And then also, dude, episode 4, there was some stuff in there that caught me by surprise. I was actually just really surprised by how good it was. I thought Mappa did a good job with it. So I'll give that one a nod. And then also I'll give one to Blue Box as well, even though I heard that maybe the production isn't as good as it should be. But you know what? I'm going to take that away. Not that it doesn't deserve, because it's a great show. So, what I've seen so far, I've only seen the first 5 episodes. But I think I'd probably give it to this. Because this was another show that surprised me, because the interactions between the two main characters, Zygon and Nephi, they just have these, it's really awkward between them at first, man. And it also this is another show that has really good supporting characters, and it just one that, like I said, it really caught me by surprise by how good it was. I thought it was a pretty well written show. Yeah, I'd probably just give it to those 3. And you know what? So hold on, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 8. You know what? I'll give a nod to Blue Box as well. I'll just give a nod to Blue Box. Sports anime of the year. This category is one I can't even vote on because I haven't watched any of these. I watched the first few episodes of Blue Box season 1. I heard, so I don't even have to say I heard. I heard I know the situation with Blue Lock is not as good as season 1 in terms of the animation, because there's maybe 1 or 2 episodes where it was literally a slideshow. So I definitely don't think I think out of all these, I think what will win, I'll give a vote to what I think will win, and I guess I'll just give a vote to Blue Box because I think it's a more popular show out of all of these. I could be wrong, but I haven't heard anyone else talk about any of these other shows. I think people still have enjoyed Blue Lock despite the animation, the production hit, the hit to the animation. Okay, so best drama. So we have Days with My Stepsister, Day Day Live 5, Frieren, Mashoko, Orb. We have Orb. What's it? God, Orb on the Movements on the Earth. Excuse me. Oshinoko, ReZero, and the Apothecary Diaries. So out of all these, I just have to default to Frieren because I haven't seen the rest of these. Um, I'll even give a nod, even though again I haven't seen Oshinoko season 2, but I know season 1 had some really good dramatic moments. So I'm gonna just give it I'm gonna give it a vote on. I'll give it a vote of faith here, just going off of what I've seen in the past. The little bit I saw of Apothecary Diaries, I wasn't too impressed with. ReZero also has really good dramatic moments, but again, I haven't seen those new seasons, so I'm not gonna really. I can't really speak on it. I heard that Orb is actually a really good show. I need to watch that, but yeah, that one I can't really. This category I can't really say much on. Best original anime. Okay, original anime of the year. So, Code Geass. Well, it's kind of strange to see Code Geass here, but I guess it's just an original story. It's not like one that's based on the manga itself. So, I guess it's okay that it's here. Okay. So, just going through all of this, we have Code Geass, Girls Band Cry, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Love Live, Mayanka Punch, Metallic Rouge, Negative Positive Angler, Ninja Kamoi. Yeah, okay, and that's the last one, Ninja Kamoi. So out of all these, so I've seen some of these. I've seen the first episode of Girls Band Cry. Surprisingly, that show was really good. I've seen so I saw the first episode and then I think like roughly half of the second episode. I'll say this just based off of what I've seen. It is way better than probably what everybody thought that this was going to be, because, just looking at the trailer, it's CG, and I don't like CG. I'm not too crazy about CG. Most people aren't. But it's really done well in terms of the presentation, in terms of the storytelling, the cinematography of it. But yeah, I can't really give like a 100% positive, vote to this just because I haven't seen the whole thing. But I heard it's really good. I heard Jellyfish in the Night was really good, but it didn't. Based on like the premise of it, it didn't seem interesting, so I didn't bother watching it. Mayanka Punch, I will say this: it is one of the best. It is, well, in my opinion, is the most interesting, and it is the best PA work show that they have done in the last, like, I want to say like over the last decade, man. Like, this was really good in terms of the presentation. The last few episodes had some pretty good dramatic moments, and the character designs look really good as well. So I think and then also Metallic Rouge, that show, man, it got there were some points in it that I thought was a bit confusing. I will give it credit for this. It being a mecha show, there is some CG obviously, but as far as like the mechs themselves, the mech battles themselves, like, it looked really good. It was 2D, because there's a lot of mech shows out there that use a lot of CG, and this didn't. So the animation looked really good. I thought the story was interesting, but there were points that were a bit confusing with it. And then there was also certain points where I thought was either like there was a bit too much not convenience, but it was a bit too predictable. There were some parts of it that I felt like it was either too predictable, or maybe they were just well I guess what I was about to say is correct. There was either too much convenience there, or there was some parts that I thought were just too predictable. But I would probably give it to Mayanka Punch. I'll give my 100% vote to Mayanka Punch. I don't suspect it'll win. I'll even give a vote to Girls Band Cry, and then I'll give a vote to this too, even though I think this show was kind of like a 7 out of 10 for me at the highest. But yeah, I'll just give it to those three. Okay, so moving along here, we have best slice of life show, and let me double check something. Oh yeah, that's right. I said okay. No, never mind. I wanted to see. Yeah, I remember now. So I wanted to see whether 2.5D Seduction, like, this show probably should have been in the romance category, like I said earlier. But so we got 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. We have A Sign of Affection, Girls Band Cry. Okay, wait, what? Okay, I wasn't expecting to see this here. Seventh Prince? For real? Well, okay. Dangerous in My Heart, Rama 1/2. So, and let me just check again on AniList, because I want to see what I want to see, and there's a reason why. Obviously, I keep going back to this, because I want to see just a list of shows that came out, because just to see if there were other picks that they should have, that could have been there. Let me see. Hopefully it won't take too long to load. Okay, so You Are Miss Servant. I would have probably put that in there as well. A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics. That probably should have been in there as well. I thought that was a really good show. But yeah, I think otherwise, I think they had a pretty good list here. But I think because what is throwing me off here. What's throwing me off here is Seventh Prince. Like, I can kind of, like, wow. I'm surprised that y'all put that there. Because I don't see it as a slice of life show. Like, it has slice of life elements to it, I guess. Because it really does. It really is about him just going about his. It really is about the main character going about his everyday life and, experimenting and trying to do different things with magic. So I can kind of see why it's here. But as far as what I think should get this one, man, this is a hard one. Because we're talking about just characters living their everyday life and everything like that. God, that's a hard one. You know what? I'll give it the 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. I think out of all of the ones that I've seen, I think that one, I think that one is the strongest in terms of this aspect of the show. And I'll give one to this one as well. I'll give one to Dangerous in My Heart as well. And I'll give one to Seven Prince too. I know it's gonna be a weird nod, but I'll give it to that as well. So moving on. Oh, let me go ahead and lock that one in. Okay, so Adventure Anime of the Year. We have Dragon Ball. We have Delicious in Dungeon, Frieren, Mashoko, No Longer Allowed in Another World, One Piece, and Shangri-La Frontier. So I haven't seen season 2 of Shangri-La Frontier, so I don't really have anything to say about that. I am not caught up on One Piece. So out of all these, God. So Delicious in Dungeon. Okay, so let me see how many categories I got left. Okay, action. Okay, so I got a few more left. So Delicious in Dungeon, I will say this much. It has a very expansive world. And it is one of those shows that has a lot of lore to it. A lot of interesting lore to it. I'd probably give it as far as a show that invokes that sense of adventure and wonder and stuff, I'd probably give it to Frieren. Because it really is just them going. It really is just Frieren, Stark, and I'm blanking on the other girl's name. I'm blanking on the other girl's name here, but it really is those characters going on an actual journey, going to different places and stuff. And it's a strong, like, out of all these in terms of the writing, I feel like, God, okay, so I kind of feel like this show, I feel like Frieren has the most to say, as like, compared to all these other shows. I feel like Frieren and No Longer Allowed in Another World, I feel like they have a lot to say. I feel like these are like the deepest shows. If we're talking about complexity, if I'm just going on complexity of the show, these two are probably the deepest out of all of these. One Piece, it being a shonen, that's kind of One Piece has it has its moments too, but if I see the thing about One Piece, I can't really say, because again, we're going on, I don't know how many episodes, and I'm not even on where everybody else is at in One Piece. So once again, I can't really judge it. But I definitely think it go. I definitely think that as far as complexity goes, you gotta give it to those two shows. As far as animation goes, it's between Free Ren and Delicious in Dungeon. Like, I'd probably have to give my 3 votes to those 3 shows: No Longer Allowed, In Another World, Free Ren, and Delicious in Dungeon. Because I think out of all 3 of these shows, because Free Ren has the great action, great animation. Like I said, it's a really deep show. Delicious in Dungeon, great world building. It's a funny show as well. It also has moments that are like unexpectedly, for lack of a better word, unexpectedly dark. Like, there's moments where people just straight up get either they get like a character gets killed or a character gets injured, and it's very unexpectedly brutal. So I'd probably just also give it to that as well. It's really anybody's game here, but I know they're not. Like, one thing I will say, I'm happy to see No Longer Allowed in Another World get a nomination here, because I think, if I remember correctly, this is a show that I don't think got too many. I don't think it got nominations in the Reddit poll. Okay, so now we have Best Action Show of the Year. We have Kaiju number 8, Fairy Tail, Dan to Dan, Bleach, Soul Eater, Windbreaker. Thank you. I was getting a little concerned not seeing that pop up, but Windbreaker and Wistoria. So, God, I wish Elusive. Okay, I missed one. Riding the Crimson. Riding the Crimson for real over Elusive Samurai. Like, I feel like Elusive Samurai should have Riding the Crimson spot. Like, so full transparency, I've only seen like I guess you could say the first season of Riding the Crimson. So I didn't get to see season 2 yet because I was waiting for the English dub. But what I saw of that show, like, the action scenes weren't that great. The art style, I wasn't crazy about the art style as well. And it was one of those shows where the writing isn't the greatest, but I do like the tone of it. I honestly wish that Attack on Titan had a tone like Ragnar Crimson. But yeah, I feel like Elusive Samurai probably should have got this slot. But out of all these shows, like, we're talking about best action, I honestly haven't seen Bleach, like I said, so I can't say. I think Bleach will probably take it out of all of these. It's either going to come down to Bleach or Solo Leveling. It's going to come down to those two. But, God, out of all these, man, God. So, let's break it down. Dan to Dan, like I mentioned before, very stylish show. Great animation. Has moments during the action where they'll switch to first person, kind of emphasizing how strong certain attacks and stuff is. And then the whole thing they do with the colors, with the color scheming and stuff, when they're fighting, different aliens and spirits and stuff. They're really good with the animation there, but I don't think it's on the same level as a Wistoria or a Windbreaker, right? Kaiju number 8 had some really great scenes, had some really exciting scenes, really tense moments there, I would say. But I think, so for me, Dan to Dan, I think the strongest thing about Dan to Dan to me wasn't really the action scenes. It really was the romance for me. So I wouldn't give it to that as far as like my 100% pick. Wistoria had also great action scenes, great animation. I think just based off of what I've seen, like, Windbreaker had some really good, really good, well choreographed action scenes. This was definitely in my top 10. I gotta give it to Windbreaker as far as my 100% pick. I also give one to Wistoria as well, even though I've only seen 4 episodes. And then I also give one to Kaiju number 8 as well. And once again, I'm surprised to see Kaiju. I'm surprised to see Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest here as well. like I guess they must have went off on the animation and the writing must be better this time around. Cause that was one of the things I feel like I heard people criticize Fairy Tail for in the past were like the action scenes. So I guess the studio must have went off this time around because I'm surprised to see that here. Like, let me look and once again, let me look and see what action shows came out just to refresh myself. So I'm actually surprised to not see Masho here because people seem to love Masho, and then My Hero's not here. And I heard that Ninja Kamui was really good as well. That had the Jujutsu Kaisen director on it, and then Go-Go Loser Ranger. That also had some good action scenes as well. So I'm surprised not to see those shows here, but yeah, I'll just go with those picks. So hopefully Windbreaker will take that one. Now, best movie of the year. I haven't seen any of these, so I cannot vote for. So I cannot really say which is better or not. Blue Giant. We have Haiku. Look Back. I heard that was good. My Hero Academia. You're Next. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Knapsack Kid. Spy Family. Yeah, Spy Family. The Boy and the Heron. And then we have Slam Dunk, which I heard that was good too. So I'm just gonna bias pick. I'm just gonna just to choose one. I'm gonna pick My Hero Academia. I don't even think I saw the last one that they came out with. 'Cause I think this is like I think that one was like the fourth film. I didn't even see the last joint. So best voice actors of the year. And I assume that this is so this is all Japanese. I watch my shows mostly in English, but I have seen some shows in Japanese. So some of these picks, like I can't give it 100%, you know. So we have Darkness. So I'm not gonna even try to pronounce this name. I'm not gonna try to pronounce all these names. I'm just gonna be like, look. The Darkness voice actor. We have the voice actor for God, I'm blinking on her freaking name. Hina. We have the voice actress for Mao Mao. The actress for I think that's okay, I have no clue who those characters are. Somebody from Day A Live. We have the voice actress for Ochako and Arlia. We have the voice actress for a character that's from she's from ReZero. We have I Farouz for okay, wow, she did both of these characters. Okay. She did what's her face? Kikaru and I'm blinking on the other girl's name. Yumi Ella. Yumi Ella. Okay, yeah. And then we have I don't even know these characters. So the voice actor for Toa and Yanami. Okay. Why didn't they just say Anna? Okay. Anna's voice actor. We have Hina's voice actor. Masaki's voice actor. Okay, it's just a lot of these. I'm just gonna scroll down. I didn't think it was gonna be this much. Okay, so out of all of these, and once again, keep in mind I watch my shows in English, so my picks, I'm not gonna have too many that I can really choose from, right? I actually watched Dangerous in My Heart in Japanese, so I'll actually give it to her. I thought that her performance was really good in there because there were some emotional moments that I'd say would be kind of a standout, But for as far as like Arlia's voice actor for this show for Dan, I think Dan English dub is a lot better than the Japanese, and I'll give it to this one. I'll give it to Hina's voice actor because I thought she did a good job both for Hina and the character from Chain Soldier, whose name I'm blinking on right now. But yeah, I just give it to those two. And then we have voice actor of the year. Once again, I'm not going to try to go through all these because it's a whole bunch of them. I'm just going to scroll down really quickly here. And I think just looking at it right now, I'll probably give it. I'll just give one to Kiyotaro. Well, I should just say Ichikawa. That's a lot easier for me to say, but yeah, I'll give one to Ichikawa, and you know what? I'll give one to, because I've seen the show in Japanese as well. I'll give one to Sensei's voice actor as well. I thought he did a good job as well. But yeah, I'll just go with those two. So best boy of the year. Thank you. I was hoping that Haruka would get some type of nod for this. So we have Aqua, we have Haruka, or I should say Sakura, like I just said. God, I was about to say Ichikawa. Ichigo Kurosaki. We have Kafka, Jinshi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Nukumizu, Ken. We have Kiyotaka. We have Kiyotaro, Okamura, Mashal, or I should say Mash, Subaru. There's a whole bunch of them, whole bunch of these characters. So, out of all these, like, I had to say, like, okay, best character out of all these, man. So I think out of all of them, you know what? I'll give my 100% vote to Sakura, because I feel like he, first of all, best tsundere of last year. Like, his tsundereisms are like the funniest, or one of the funniest things about that show. That show has really good comedy, by the way. But this character really surprised me. Not just the tsundereisms, because I felt like that was a better way of showing vulnerability in comparison to something like a Tokyo Revengers with like Tamakichi and him crying all the time. I love this character to just the fact that, you know, he actually knew how to fight compared to somebody like Tamakichi. He's rough around the edges, but he has that softer side that shows in like his tsundereisms. And also, he's just a really deep and complex character, I thought. Yeah, I'd probably give it to him, my 100% pick. Definitely not giving it to Nukumizu. Like I said, kind of just he's almost borderline getting close to being bland. Not a very interesting character. With Okarun, I'll even give him a nod, even though, yeah, he's wimpy, yeah, he's weak, but he's not spineless. He does have a backbone, and he's aware of his weaknesses, and he's just a well-written character. Ichikawa as well, a lot of good character development with Ichikawa. This character as well, Okamura, he can be cringe, but that cringe, like, his love for anime, his escapism, it comes from a really dark and kind of sad place with something that happened to him in his past. Not gonna get into it because I ain't gonna try to spoil it for everybody, but I enjoyed his character. Had a lot of funny moments with his character. And that's pretty much all I'll give it to. Oh, and I won't give one to Will yet. I haven't seen enough. Of Wisteria to give it to Will, so. But best girl of the year, Arya. We have Akane. We have Anna. We have the other inferior Anna. Let me stop. But dog, this character, man. Okay, so let me get through the rest of this. Chinatsu. Did they get did they not? Okay, they better have Hina up here. They better have Hina. Darkness. We have Fern, Frieren. Okay, there's Hina. Okay, about to say. Obviously, okay, so this is going in so it's going in alphabetical order. We have Kurumi, Mao Mao, Megumin, Momo, Ubel, and Yuna. Wow, okay. Okay, so tying the knot with the Nagami sister. Okay, I'm surprised this show actually got a nod. Okay. So, out of all of these, best character, right? Man, so I like Arya. The thing I like about Arya, she is one of those chicks that is like, she knows she's beautiful. She knows that she can get any dude she wants. She knows she thinks she's the best thing in the world, right? She thinks she's chosen. Like, I feel like everybody has had somebody like this character in some sense, growing up, in high school or middle school, whatever. I feel like this character, I liked her. She was pretty good. I think out of all these, see, this is a hard one. So, if we're just going by complexity, we're going by how well the characters are written, I gotta give one to Freerin. Because they've managed to make a character that you can really have that sort of, I don't want to say attraction, but there is, how can I put this? Like, they don't really fan service the character, right? But you could definitely have that sort of fandom where there are people where they'll draw certain types of, images of these characters and have this irrational love for the character. I feel like she's one of those type of characters. But yeah, she's a character that I felt like that was pretty well written. Hina as well. There's a lot of funny moments with her character. Also, I think just based off of what I've seen so far, I thought they handled her whole, her having an attraction to Taiki. I thought they kind of handling that so far. From what I've seen, they're handling that well. Anna, this character, man, this character was kind of she's kind of obnoxious to me, man. That whole eating trope, and it's funny because Anna, the other Anna, so Anna Yamina and Anna Yanama. God, I cannot speak right now. Apologies. Both Annas, both of these characters have that. Both of them have that eating trope, right? But I feel like Dangerous in My Heart, they do it a lot better. The author doesn't do it in a way that it's not. I guess heavy-handed is the wrong term. It's not overused, and it's used more effectively. It adds personality to the character, whereas with Anna, I know that part of it is showing that, yeah, she's going through a depression, so she's stress eating, she's depression eating, whatever you want to call it. So I get that part of it, but it got to the point where that really just became really like the big sticking point with that character. Again, I said this earlier, you take away the depression from that character, and that character just really doesn't have too much going on with her. Whereas Anna, she's a well-rounded, well-developed character. There's a lot going on with her. Darkness, always a funny character. I mean, I'm just gonna vote for her because I love Darkness. I'm just gonna do it. Just a biased pick. Obviously, gotta give it to Momo. Character that is rough around the edges, but then she's also been shown to be very empathetic, and she does balance. I feel like she does kind of balance Okarun out in the sense that he's weak and he's weak-willed as well, but she is more confident, and she's basically the leader. Compared to the two, with the two of them, she's basically the leader. She's basically the more confident one out of them. But I thought that she was pretty well written as well. Yeah, I'll probably just give it a no. Oh yeah, and I'll give a nod to Ubel as well. I love this character. Yeah. So next one, last one, we have Anime of the Year. So. Dang, they got 20 picks. Okay, so we have Alia, Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian. We have Bleach, Blue Box, Blue Lock, Dan to Dan, Day Day Live, Days with My Okay, come on, y'all. Days with My Stepsister, Okay. Fairy Tale, Freerin, Go Go Loser Ranger. Thank freaking God. Thank freaking God. Okay. Thank you. I was wondering if they weren't gonna give this show a nod in anything. Thank freaking God. Cause I thought that show was really good. Konosuba, we have Mashoko, we have Oshinoko. Man, Ragnar Crimson though? Okay. ReZero, we have Solo Leveling, The Apothecary Diaries, Dangers in My Heart, Toomey Losing Heroines, and Windbreaker. So, dang. So this is a lot. This is a lot. Let me check something right quick, and I'll be really quick with this because I just wanna make sure something right quick before I start going through these. Right. So my picks for top 10 of the year would have been Kaiju number 8, Dan to Dan, Windbreaker, Freerin, Dangers in My Heart, Delicious in Dungeon, Rama One Half, Rangers, Go Go Loser Ranger, and No Longer Allowed in Another World, right? Out of all these, first of all, I'm surprised to see that Dungeon Meshi is not here. I'm surprised. I am shocked. Wow, Dungeon Meshi is not here. But Fairy Tale. Somebody on the... Okay, so hold on, man. Something is not adding up. Something is not adding up. Hold on. I just want to check something right quick. I know I checked this earlier. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna check something because I just want to double check so you can. So these are in fact the nominees. Because again, like I said before, in the other polls, you could like type in a show that wasn't listed there, and then it'll show up. But okay, so these are the picks. I have a problem if these were like, okay, I appreciate them for having a very big pool of shows to choose from. But some of these shows, and granted I haven't seen some of these shows, but I feel like some of these shows don't deserve, I won't say don't deserve, but it's kind of just an odd choice to see them here. Like I said, Fairy Tale, Day Day Live, Days with My Stepsister, and Ragnar Crimson. I feel like those shouldn't even be here. I feel like they shouldn't be here, but again, I can't really judge 100%. Now, Fairy Tale, I know for a fact, unless they really went off and Hiro Mishima somehow wrote a masterpiece compared to his other seasons. But I'm like, Fairy Tale, how the heck is that here? But yeah, getting into this though. Okay, so Too Many Losing Heroines, God no. No, like I said before, I'm not gonna belabor the point. I feel like the writing it isn't that strong. The writing isn't. I'll put it this way: the writing of the show, the level, the complexity of it, the complexity of the writing, the depth of the characters. I don't think that it warranted that production, the level, the high production. I don't think it was warranted. Dangers in My Heart, absolutely banger of a season. Amazing show. I can't really praise it enough. Windbreaker had some of the best fights. Like I said, really good action show. Had some of the best fights. Some of the best action scenes, best choreography. Oshinoko, once again, very good show. But Go Go Loser Ranger, man, that had, so for those that don't know, it's basically Dark Power Rangers. It's basically like I've seen somebody say that it's like that show The Boys, but Power Rangers. It's like a darker take on the Power Rangers that's following basically one of the fodder of the villains, like one of the soldiers, one of the evil soldiers, right? And it had a pretty unique story, and it had some pretty good action scenes. It was brutal. There was a brutal scene at one point with that Red Ranger. Like, they really paint these guys as being really corrupt compared to how they're shown in the public eye. because in the public eye, they're all heroes. They're all morally, morally just, right? But I thought that show was really good. Again, going back to Frieren, man. Frieren was such a well written, such a well done show in terms of his animation, in terms of just all the characters. There was growth there. There was character development for Stark. I love that character. The comedy was good. Once again, they didn't really have to go to the through the trouble of fan servicing the characters in order to make them appealing to the audience in a more in a attractive way or whatever, in a more sexual way or whatever you want to put it, however you want to say it. I thought the second half, I really enjoyed the second half, but I think some people probably enjoyed that second half a lot more than that first half because it had a lot more action to it, and I thought they did really solidified, or I should say reinforced, the ideas that they had set up in that first half. Though I will say that, Dan to Dan, I think out of all the shows of last year, I think out of all the shows, like, this is probably one of the shows where I'm like, yeah, if you told me that this was anime of the year, I kind of wouldn't be justified in fighting you on it, mainly because I've seen it literally 4 to 5 times in a row completely, and the show's only been out for a little while, right? And it's a show that, again, has a lot of style to it. It's a really funny show. It is a really good romance series. It has some really decent action. And the English dub for this thing is, man, they went wild with it. It is really good. But it's not as deep as these other shows here, I would say. I don't think it's as deep as some of the shows I mentioned. Dang, but this is hard. Out of all the ones from last year. And then, one thing I will say before I give my vote. Kaiju number 8. I don't, like, y'all didn't put Kaiju over here. Over freaking Fairy Tail. And I love Fairy Tail, but Kaiju number 8? Dag. That's crazy. But, I think out of all these, I think I gotta give it to Frieren. I would give a nod to Dungeon Meshi as well. I will say this, just to kind of give Dungeon Meshi its props before I give the 100% vote to Frieren, because I think that's where I'm gonna have to give it, unfortunately. Well, see, the thing is, and this will be throwing me off with these awards, because we're saying 2024, and Frieren feels like such a 2023 show to me. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels like that. It feels like a 2023 show. So that's the only thing that's keeping me from kind of giving it my 100% vote. Is that it doesn't feel like a show. I mean, obviously, the second part came out last year, but it doesn't feel like 100%, 100% 2024 show, right? So that's the only thing that's kind of keeping me from giving it a 100% vote there. But I think I will probably, dang. So it's between The Dangers in My Heart. We have Frieren and Dan to Dan. I think I'm going to give it to Dan to Dan. I think I might give it to Dan to Dan, man. This is hard. God, because The Dangers in My Heart, it has great comedy. It has great scenes in it. There was no episode that I felt across the board that I was like, this is just an 8 out of 10. Right? I think Dan to Dan, it got even better. Not that it was worse, not that it started out weak. I thought it really started, getting like it went from being a good show to a great show around that like middle portion. But I think my thing with Dan to Dan was how they ended it. It ends abruptly, and now we gotta wait till season 2, which I still feel is like it really is just the second part. It's not really a second season because it felt like it didn't really end on a satisfying note. It was a cliffhanger ending. That's the only thing. That's the only thing with me. And then same thing with like Windbreaker. I felt like y'all could have kept going. I felt like they could have kept going. So, you know what? Anime of the year. God. I'm going to give it to Dangers. A part of me really wants to give it to Dan to Dan. And then, like I said before, Frieren was so freaking good. But it just feels like a 2023 anime. It just feels like a 2023 anime for me. So, I'll probably give it to Dangers. So, I'll do it this way. Dangers gets my 100% vote. I'm going to give my next one to Frieren. And then I'll give the next one to Dan to Dan. And you know what? And I'll give this a nod too. So there you have it. Those are my votes. We went through all of it. Anime of the year. Apologies, I know this video is gonna be like mad long, but man, I had to do this, man, because like I said before, I didn't get the chance to go through all these shows last year. It was a whole crap ton of shows that came out last year, and I didn't get to talk about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take some time, go through all these nominees, and just talk about it. Just talk about these shows. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. I know, like I said, it's mad long, but hopefully y'all enjoyed me going through all this. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see y'all guys next time. Peace.